Welcome to today's Explainer. We are diving into a really fascinating situation today, looking at a microcap tech stock called SEALSQ. You can find them under the ticker LAS. We are basically looking at a company that is sitting dead center at the crossroads of a massive emerging technological threat and some really intense financial scaling. It's kind of got everything. We're talking quantum computing, global cybersecurity, and high-stakes corporate finance, all rolled into an entirely real scenario. Right off the bat, we need to talk about this concept, harvest now, decrypt later. Honestly, it sounds exactly like the plot of a spy thriller, doesn't it? But it's actually a chilling reality pulled straight from our sources. Right now, as we speak, malicious actors and hackers are actively stealing and stockpiling vast amounts of encrypted data. Now, they can't read it today, it's locked up tight, but they're harvesting it now so they can decrypt it later, specifically the exact moment quantum computers become powerful enough to crack our current security standards. It's essentially a ticking time bomb for global data. So, here is our roadmap for the explainer. We're going to unpack the quantum security threat, take a look inside SEALSQ's tech arsenal, and then pivot right into the hard numbers, their fiscal year 2025 financial breakdown, their massive cash position, how they're expanding the quantum ecosystem, and finally, their road to profitability. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the quantum security threat. Our sources highlight a really critical vulnerability here. Think about the Internet of Things, all those smart systems and IoT devices deployed today. Well, if they're deployed without post-quantum cryptography, they are going to be completely vulnerable tomorrow. Right now, the whole world relies on RSA and ECC encryption. That's the invisible shield protecting everything, your credit cards, your passports, digital assets like Bitcoin, but advancing quantum computers threaten to just shatter that encryption entirely. And here's the thing, this isn't just about patching a quick software bug. It's about a fundamental ground-up redesign of our digital infrastructure to withstand a completely new type of computational architecture. Moving right along to Section 2, inside SEALSQ's tech arsenal. You know, when you hear future quantum threat, you might picture some brand new, fly-by-night startup operating out of a garage. But actually, SEALSQ has been around since 1998. They were acquired by WiseKey back in 2016 and officially listed on the NASDAQ in May of 2023. They've got a solid workforce of 175 people, and a massive chunk of that, 75 employees based out of Switzerland, are dedicated entirely to research and development. And maybe most importantly, they hold 118 security-related patents and boast a whole suite of rigorous ISO and FIPS certifications. They've been in the trenches for a while. A really core part of what they do revolves around PKI, or public key infrastructure. Now, let's just demystify that technical jargon for a second. Think of PKI as a heavily fortified bank vault combined with a highly secure ID card for your data. It's a system that creates and manages digital keys and electronic certificates to actually prove identities and secure online communications. For businesses, for investors, PKI is literally the bedrock that prevents fraud, ensures your digital documents are the real deal, and basically allows the entire modern digital economy to function safely. All right, let's pivot to the numbers. Section 3, FY 2025 Financial Breakdown. SEALSQ reported some seriously explosive top-line trajectory. If we look at the quarterly comparison, they flat out doubled their revenue from $4 million in Q4 of 2024 to $8 million in Q4 of 2025. And for the full fiscal year 2025, total revenue hit $18 million. That represents a massive 66% year-over-year revenue jump. This surge was driven heavily by demand for their Vault IC secure element technology, plus the consolidation of revenues from their recent IC Alps acquisition. But hold on a second. We have to look at the whole picture. That $18 million in revenue and that incredible 66% growth, it has to be weighed against the reality of an expanding deficit. For fiscal year 2025, SEALSQ reported a widening net loss, estimated somewhere between $30 million and $40 million. That's a noticeable step up from their $21 million loss in 2024. So this stark contrast really highlights the heavy financial costs associated with pioneering this kind of advanced post-quantum technology. Which naturally brings us to Section 4, a massive cash position. So how would you survive that kind of cash burn? Well, you need serious capital. And SEALSQ has a genuinely staggering number here, over $525 million. As of March 2026,
They reported holding cash and short-term investments exceeding $500 million. This was significantly bolstered by a recent $125 million direct offering. And as their CFO, John O'Hara, pointed out in their earnings call, having this massive pile of cash isn't just a safety net, it's actually actively generating meaningful interest income for the company.
To put that into perspective, this creates an incredibly clear fortification for them. Total assets were sitting at roughly $504.1 million at year-end 2025, stacked up against total liabilities of just $42.7 million. What's more, the company reported a very modest $1.7 million in debt, and all of that is related to government-supported loans tied to an acquisition. So practically speaking, the parent company balance sheet is essentially debt-free. That means they are absolutely not dependent on further capital raises just to keep the lights on and maintain immediate operational continuity. Let's see what they're doing with all that capital in Section 5, expanding the quantum ecosystem.
They are definitely not sitting still. They are moving at a really aggressive pace here in early 2026. Look at this timeline. February 19th, they make a strategic investment in IoT, which is a company pioneering this wild electrons on helium quantum architecture. March 16th, they secure that massive $125 million offering we just talked about. March 24th, they sign a letter of intent to acquire photonics developer Murex. And then, literally the very next day, March 25th, they expand their SEALSQ quantum fund to $200 million. They are rapidly assembling what they call a sovereign, end-to-end, root-to-qubit quantum stack.
And finally, Section 6, the road to profitability. According to company leadership, all of these aggressive moves are building toward a massive future. Management is currently outlining an active business pipeline of over $200 million, spanning from 2026 all the way through 2028. For 2026 specifically, they are actually guiding for 50% to 100% year-over-year revenue growth. They expect this to be driven by the anticipated second-half production of their new QS701 and QVault TPM products. Plus, they have big plans to scale up new personalization centers right here in the United States. Which leaves us right here. SEALSQ is taking on a verified, frankly existential technological threat, the quantum computing danger to our entire global encryption system. To fight it, they've amassed over $500 million in assets, and they are deploying that capital super aggressively, even as their net losses widen in the short term. It is a massive, high-stakes undertaking, to say the least. So the final question we really have to ponder today is this. With the tech infrastructure of the world literally on the line, will SEALSQ's massive quantum gamble ultimately pay off? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring the data.